Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas and we have wonderful guests. And today I have a wonderful guest with me, and she will be speaking about some of her experiences. But I want to tell you an experience that I had when I contacted her. I was contacting her about the meeting that we're having right now. And in the process, I was standing by my patio, and there's a big pine tree outside in the patio, around by the patio. There's a big pine tree out there. And anyway, and I'm on the second floor of the apartment building. But anyway, the tree all of a sudden, when we were talking, just filled up with a flock of little bluebirds and a couple of birds with white head. They look like some type of finches or whatever. And then one landed on the patio railing, which was less than 3 feet away from me. Another one came and kind of flew looking my direction and was going like this with its wings. I mean, it was amazing. So anyway, I told Sandra McEllis, who is our guest, that she brought the birds. She's a messenger. So welcome, Sandra.
Hello, Gail. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you very much.
Well, it's interesting that you just told that story because, my totem has always been the hawk, and the hawk is the messenger. And, when you were saying what was happening, before it happened, I was prompted to give you a message, if you remember. And in the message, you were getting very heartfelt and tearful. And although I couldn't see your face, I could feel it.
Mhm.
And in that moment, as you were going through those feelings, then the birds came. And I believe one even came right to your windowsill as
Yes.
if to speak to you. And
Mhm.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I know. Well, I felt like it had something to do with you because I think you're a spiritual messenger in
Well,
many ways. So,
thank you very much. I always believe it happens when two people who are vibratorily in sync, things occur to show each other these messages.
yes, thank you so much for that. That's it. I don't know why, but that does make me misty eyed. But
Oh,
it's so important for all of us to connect with each other at a very deep level. And it's also so important right now that um, we start. Well, we could start out with everybody's talking about a black swan event. Is that not correct?
yeah.
Have you heard of that? And, and that's kind of the financial crash and all that kind of thing. But rather than thinking of it as a black swan event, which is considered very dark, why don't we transmute that swan into heart-based light and um, being white rather than being black and dark. Um, just a thought. It's why I picked the picture of the white swan in the heart, because
Mhm.
that's where we would like to move to.
Well, with the black swan thing, it's all these predictions in the business world, right? And they're supposed to be random and high impact, etc. But we already know that we can manifest what it is that we choose if we come together on something that's a little more harmonious, so that we're not experiencing things that are of lesser light, of darker light, so to speak. I really don't like to use the light and dark thing, but it's a density and energy, or it's an uplifting, helping all type of energy.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So the dark and the light is very dualistic.
It is.
Is that what you? So
It
I
is,
under.
and one of the messages I've gotten a lot of is to abolish this polarization, to come to the center, come to the neutral point, and be able to observe things from that point of view and not look at it, because we are all the light, we are all the dark. We're all of it.
That's what it's hard for people to face that, to want to see the dark in their own selves. And so that's
Mhm,
the dark night of the soul is
mhm.
looking at some of the things that you may have done in the past, or whatever, that hurt yourself or hurt others, and we have to transmute all of that.
Mhm.
And
And even what you may have seen as a white lie could have been very dark experience for someone else.
And yes, and sometimes we hurt and we don't even know it, or
Yeah.
didn't think it was that serious or something like that, and that's may not have been your intention, but becoming aware of it and transmuting it is an important thing. What do you do in your line of work? You want to talk about that a little bit? You
Sure.
call it embodiment of the soul.
Well, embodiment of the soul was a name given to me by a shaman friend who'd been holding on to it for about 30 years, and that was gifted to me a couple years ago. And I decided to put it on my website. And it's really all about bringing your soul into your physical everyday avatar with your spiritual experiences, because we're so busy living a life of 3D, of got to do, work is hard, money, money, money. 80% of the time we're working and to earn this money, never getting ahead, always having the down the dumps feelings, paycheck to paycheck. The other 20% we live in, got to do the chores, got to pay the bills, got to go to the grocery store, got to do this, got to do that. Oh, yeah, got to love the family. Oh, yeah, got to love partnership. Oh, yeah, I got to spend extra time with the kids. Oops, maybe I have a percent in there for self-care. So embodiment of the soul is bringing in a higher energetic power, so that the 3D thing is sort of like, it's just a mundane thing, that you people that live with it do. But when you're embodying the soul, you're living from a whole different perspective of what your 80% ought to be. Besides, 10 and 2, got to do 10 and 2, as in you're driving, steering your life kind of thing. So I started out as a massage therapist, self-taught in energy. Being started coming into my center when I would work with certain people, much of which I was never allowed to express to them that they were there. Um, I moved on later to learning more energy work, getting certified in about a dozen different types of Reiki, and then beyond quantum healing um, certificates, hypnosis from several different venues. And I don't like to label them because people get stuck on 4 letters and think that's the only hypnosis that's going to get you anywhere. And that is not necessarily what I have found at all. Um, Past life regression certifications, life coaching certifications. I've done the Washington Hypnosis Guild. I've done Edgar Casey Institute, done Dolores Cannon stuff. So a little mishmash of everything. And Spirit has just combined it all into my toolbox, so that each person that comes across my path for a session, everything is customized to their needs. And yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell.
All right. Somebody is saying no volume.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you fine. I don't know why Well and Lively with Lenray said there's no volume. Does anyone else have that problem? Please let me know in the chat if you would.
Where is she? I would want to ask. Is she talking about YouTube or Rumble?
Well,
I have no
other
idea.
people
She
are
just
commenting, like hello and so
Yeah,
true, and oh,
right,
that's
right.
you, Dot.
But if you
uh,
notice, yeah.
I can hear you fine.
okay.
I'll double check.
Okay. Oh,
Someone
she's
said
saying on
Rumble.
Rumble. I don't know why that would be the case on Rumble.
Well, the video gets posted there later again as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay.
maybe it'll be normal. Otherwise we'll have to I can always get it off of Restream again and repost it if necessary.
Okay.
It's just a
All
lot of
right.
extra time and energy. So we like it to work the first time. But
Sure.
anyway, moving right along, there has been some. Do you work on the astral plane at all?
No, not really.
I don't either.
I've never really been called to go there and do that. Now, have I gone through dreams where I've been in the astral? Sure, if that's what you want to call it. who really honestly knows where they are when they're doing certain things. I mean, really.
Mhm.
So no, I'm not really called to the astral plane. I don't. I work with levels of um, when someone comes into session and we go into hypnosis, they're going on a field trip of their choice through different portals of their choice, and I'm gifted enough where I'm right alongside them, going through it with them, so I know when they hit a snag or fear comes into play. And so as a practitioner, I hold space for that, and then I will ask our guides, um, am I to interrupt, am I to prompt, am I to say something? And then we either continue on, like for example, I had someone that was going through different planes and their field trip and learning different things, and then they said, okay, I'm going down a set of stairs now, and the set of stairs were, I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to be here, and they went running back up the steps. And so I was able to tune into where they were, and I knew what was happening. So I asked my guides, um, do we want to just let her be here, or do we want to have her go back down the stairs? And it was like, it was a choice. So I basically said a few things to her, like, you know that you're safe in this environment. You're just an observer. It's your choice if you want to go back down. And she chose to go back down. And then she went through a few scenes in that. And then after she went through the first few scenes, she went into a chamber of light and then took her meat suit off. And then she went into another chamber of light where she was staying in this chamber of light. And it was really hard for her to have patience there. So really what it boiled down to at the very end after we came out is she was exiting that life. She went down the stairs. She was going through some quick pictures of that lifetime. She took her meat suit off, and then she went into the light where she was going to stay and marinate and be in until the next venture was going to be presented to her. So it was teaching her patience. It taught her how to walk through something that was painful, that it didn't hurt at all. And it was quite the experience.
Wow. Well, I have got a question from the chat from the dot connector. She said that, and feel free to speak, Christine. She said you just had a dream about meat suits an hour ago.
Wow.
Honestly, just an hour ago, I took a nap before the show, and I was speaking in front of a group of people who were not Caucasian like myself, and I was sharing that when I look at them, I don't see your meat suit. The whole thing was about being a spiritual being in a meat suit. Said yours might be milk chocolate or dark chocolate. Mine happens to be white. American Indians are called red. I don't know why. I don't think they're really red.
I don't
But,
either.
you
Funny
know,
that you said that. I always thought the same thing.
I
Why do
never
they
think
call them
it's,
red?
it's kind of olive skin, but they don't want to be called green, I'm sure, right? So anyway, and I'm having this whole thing, and I'm saying when I look out and I see your smile, I see that grandfather proud, I see this and that and the other thing, and I don't know, I was having some speech. It came out very well in my dream.
You
But
know,
that's
it's interesting that you're talking about the colors of the suits, because I always look at the colors based on where you are in the equator. So if I was to say to spirit, okay, I'm ready to jump in a meat suit and I'm going to go into Ecuador, right? Well, you couldn't go in this meat suit. You wouldn't have enough melanin. You would just burn up and be in all kinds of trouble, right?
true,
So
true.
I would
Yeah.
have to go into a suit that was doable for the climate and the weather of which my spirit wanted to be housed to have these experiences.
Mhm.
So I think we're all placed in different parts of the world, and the colors of our meat suits are vary based on the equator if you're here in this on this planet.
It's just it was a
That makes sense.
synchronicity. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. So,
Well,
okay.
thank you.
Well, if there's anyone else in the audience who has questions, please feel free to ask. So, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, Sandra, when you get messages from spirit, how does that happen? How does that come to you? Do you hear a voice in your head, or is it your own voice? How does that happen for you?
Okay. So I believe it's called something like clairsentient, where there's just a knowing. There's just something that just pops into your head. I do not hear voices like I would hear your voice or my voice or Dot's or anyone else's voice. That's clear audio. So I don't have anyone that talks in my ear. I always have a feeling. The feelings are what started with me as a very young child. I got information through feelings when I was around people. That was my gauge of my barometer of understanding, if you were friend or foe, understanding um, a little bit more about where I was in unison to your energy. So if I felt like I was comfortable with your energy, then I became the observer and I would stare at people. I would watch their mannerisms, their eyes. I would read every drop of energy all over them, including pets. And I would create a dialogue with that, meaning a dialogue, meaning a way of communicating. And I would learn whether I trusted that person, whether they were a partial truth teller, whether they were embellishing things. I could tell if they had anxiety or depression. I sometimes knew if they had illnesses, um, and so on. So, and a lot, and so much of this, well, I would say all of it, I had to keep to myself. So to me, it was like, I just like to be people watching and learning and all that stuff. So I get messages from what I call my higher self. I've worked many moons to commune and be one, to really, really be one with that higher self, that larger, bigger, wiser sister, brother, fellowship within myself. And so the more I do that, the more it just becomes enmeshed in me. And so the information that I get comes generally in words that will flow through, things that are not normally something I would say, or feelings that I would have.
Mhm. Fascinating. Yeah, I operate much more so off of feeling than
Mm-hmm.
anything else. I've
Yeah.
had visions in meditation,
Mm-hmm.
but I have just first started remembering dreams that at this point have been pretty nonsensical.
Yeah.
But that apparently hasn't been my mode of learning things or modus operandi. I mean, a lot of people get a lot out of dreams, but um, I can't say that. But as far as feelings, I got a lot of feelings. And you reminded me when you were talking about my mother used to always say to me is, "It's written all over your face."
Yeah. Well, I get a lot of pictures. I get like little mini movies all the
I do
time.
too. I've gotten that too.
All the time. I never really have to go into a deep meditation to get answers. I can do it quick and easy. I mean, even back in the 80s and 90s, I was not the granola eater, Birkenstock wearer that went into these groups. You were always stereotyped. I did a lot of things on my own, and I found that I just couldn't fit in with what people said meditation was and how you had to sit and where your fingers needed to be. It just didn't work for me. So I learned to just be my own little meditation rebel and go and learn how to tap in much quicker, um, and get information. And again, like I said, I get videos, I get pictures, I get something, and it'll come up if I'm just sitting and having tea with a friend. Things will come through, and I'll say, "Am I supposed to tell them that?" Or it'll just flow into the conversation, and next thing you know, it has a whole other element to the conversation. It gets lifted way up. Now
Wow.
I've asked for clear audio. Trust me. I sit there and go, I can't hear you, because I get orbs and spheres and beings that come, right? And
Uh-huh.
I can see them, and I can see their mouth moving sometimes, or sometimes they're just present. And sometimes I get feisty. I go, I'm not even going to acknowledge you because I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You need to learn to talk to me. And then I have to say, I need to raise my vibration a little bit and maybe just simply be in the presence of what it is that I'm seeing and to feel the energy. Because, Gail, we all come in with our own set of clairs. We have all the clairs, right? If you want to call it that. But we come in with what resonates best with us. So some people are big on the feelings, some people are big on the words, some people are big on the sight, some people are big on hearing the voice. You just have to start with what you have and be grateful for it and work with it and ask more of it and dialogue with it. It'll become your best friend, and more things will blossom and open and expand for you. Because I had to learn on my own now.
Mm-hmm. That's good, though. I mean, there's probably no better way to learn than
Yeah. Some of us came in with, I'm going to experience every hard knock in the world. So yeah. So sometimes I'll say to my guides, okay, don't hit me in the head anymore. I don't need it. I'm listening.
Oops, sorry, I had myself muted there for a minute.
Okay.
I have a little noise going on here, so I wanted to mute. But
Well, that's all right. Let the doggy bark.
yeah.
It's okay.
So, okay, that's very interesting that you say that, because I've wondered how different people get their messages, so to speak, because I don't consider myself clairaudient. And the way you describe things seems very similar to my experience, and stuff kind of just dropping in your head, more or less.
It
And
doesn't have to be complicated.
in just feelings, and all of a sudden, but there's a lot of synchronicities too, because all of a sudden I'll find things that I've been like, I'll go, wow. I just run into something that is fascinating, and something I can use for the show, because I always ask for spiritual guidance whenever I do shows, and who should I have on next, and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I just feel like I've had a lot manifesting on my behalf lately, and I'm extremely grateful for it.
Mm.
Do you
Well,
use
there's
pendulums? Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
do. No, it's okay. I do. I used to use them just to check chakras back when in the day when I did a lot more energy work in person, starting out as a massage therapist. I didn't use them so much with Reiki. And then in the last year or so, I have gotten another pendulum. But the important thing is the pendulum is only a tool. It's not a being that comes onto the pendulum. It's information that comes in through you from other realms when you're connected. But you really have to clean your pendulum. You have to, hold it up, roll it with fire, through your hand, put it in the fire, put it over a stone, make sure it's clear.
What do you mean, put it in the fire? What do you mean?
So a lot of people, when they become
What
a
do you mean?
pendulum, they want to put it in Himalayan salt and do all this stuff, which is fine. You can quickly do that. But between each time you pick up your pendulum to use it, you can hold it.
Yes. I have one too.
You can take it in your right hand, and then you can wrap your hand around it, and you can, like, I am clearing my pendulum, and then have a candle there and go, and then I just learned
wow.
this. I just learned this from a shaman out of Africa who was teaching me to be more cognizant of clearing energy. So you just clear it and then put your hand over the flame and clear it. And then
So you don't actually put this in the flame, right?
oh God, no. No, you don't need
Just
to do
check
that.
it.
And then I have a stone, and then I will hold it over the stone, which will protect it. And then I begin to ask it questions. So now my stone is programmed with my pendulum.
What is a stone? What kind of stone is that?
Well, that's a very good question, because I have tons of them and I always forget their names. And I want to say it's not a black onyx. It's which you can use. It's I can't even remember.
Okay, that's okay.
Canaanite or something. But either way, you can get one that is a clearing type stone. You can use a rose quartz if you want to, but you want to get it, and you just want to be able to say, are you clear? Let it give you your yes and no, and and then just simply do your ritual, just like you would do when you would do energy work. You have to respect the energy and the tools in which you use. So you have to, when you do cards and things for people, you should always have your own set of cards that are only just for you. They only give you answers. And then you can have cards that you can use on others. But each time you use them, you need to clear the cards before and after. And especially right now, we have, all the real big heavy wigs, troublemakers are off the planet. But we do have some minions, and we do have some energies here that are just going around and trying to go onto lower density things. And so when you're not grounded, your tools are not clean, they can easily come and say, oh, hey, let's just perch upon this. And then next thing you know, you're going to be getting incorrect information.
Oh wow, that's really important to know. I heard of cleaning stuff before, but I wasn't thinking about doing it after every single time.
Yes,
But
just
that
like
just
you would
makes
clean
sense.
yourself, just like you would
Yeah.
you clean yourself, you protect yourself, just like, I mean, it's what we need to do, because we're getting debris on us every day, all day
Oh yeah.
long.
That's why I
And
tell people
so,
to detox daily too. And that's a whole nother
yes,
aspect.
yes,
Because
yeah.
in order
And
for
you've
us to
got some
take in
products for
more,
that.
yes, in order for us to take in more light, we need to really detox our bodies. And a
Mhm.
lot of the symptoms that people experience that they're seeing from chronic disease are usually the result of um, heavy metal and
Yes,
chemical intoxication that is
absolutely.
never addressed
Never
by
addressed.
the MDs at all. Just like even a child with autism or something, that should be first order.
Mhm.
Someone with high cholesterol, that should be first order. There's a lot of things that have been totally ignored by Western medicine that are of critical importance for people's health and well-being.
Mhm.
You know, purifying your and detoxing and purifying your body as much as you can. Your body is a sacred temple.
Mhm.
And I want to address something. I listened to a show by Jean Nolan, Inspired Channel, and I just want to mention something about what he meant, what he said, because I agree with him 100%. And that is, we have got to stop this agenda that involves, I hope I can say this, AI. Um,
Mhm.
anyway, I'm sorry, someone's trying to get a hold of something. But anyway,
Well, we're in a world of it right now. We're in a world of it right now, and we haven't even begun to look at what the screens and what is produced just through our cell phones and our computers, much less going deeper into a sinister agenda, so to speak. Um, and
well, it
we
is a
have to
very
really,
sinister
it
agenda.
is, it is. I was trying not to go down that tunnel. But
That's okay. It's
we have to
truth.
look at that, just like we have to look at, all the chemicals just in our house, our basic cleaning supplies, our hairsprays, our toothpaste, our
Makeup,
facial creams. I mean,
all of it.
food additives, food preservatives,
They didn't miss
food
anything.
enhanced flavor. I mean, that is made from some disgusting.
Fetal cells.
Yes, and once you start really learning things like this, you're like, who the heck thought of this,
Of
and
that.
why am
Yeah.
I ingesting it? So, you know, we do live in a very toxic world because of what we've created. It's what we've created. It's not just what's been created for us, but it's here. And we have to now say, okay, I acknowledge this. And first of all, I'm going to start with my body, my temple, because it houses my spirit. And my spirit is the biggest priority here for its experiences.
Yes.
And if I'm, it's like getting into a car that's an old beat up jalopy that's got oil mixed with the water and the tires aren't working, and you're saying you're going to get me to this destination. Well, you can't without breaking down, without some sputtering happening and blowing a tire, and your steering is off, and so many things happen. We have to look at ourselves. If we expect to get to the destination and experience the journey to there, then you best keep this traveling buddy, your physical human self, because without your human self, it's not ever going to complete anything.
Exactly.
So pay attention to it.
Great analogy. Really is. And it's so important now, more important than ever, because the very extinction of the human race could occur if people don't wake up to what's really going on here.
Well, we're going to create some things that are going to be irreversible if we don't.
So people need to stand up. You need to learn how to say, no, I'm
Yes.
not doing that.
Yes. And you
And
need to be able to.
breaks a spell. And they
It
do have a
does.
spell on people.
Mhm.
So that's really important. Who would have thought that? Just
Well,
saying no.
I was just trying to say no to water bottles, right? But when you go to buy water, everything is in plastic.
Yeah.
There's very few things that are in glass that, first of all, you're like, okay, I can only take a couple of these because I won't be able to get it from the cart to the bag to my car safely without breaking, right? So there's so many things that we could do just to say no, and then pick and choose the things we're going to say no to. And then add to that as the year goes on, no to this. Another month or so goes by, okay, no to this, no to that. Next thing you know, in 12 months, you've said no to 12 things or maybe more.
Whatever you can handle, but taking it one step at a time is the best way to do it, because otherwise, if you try to take on too much at one time and fail, then you just give up.
Yes, because
know.
we're creatures of habit and we don't want to change. A lot of people just can't handle change. And then they use all the wrong words when they're changing. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to stop that. I'm not going to do that anymore. So they're using what you want to call denser expressions, whereas the physical body and the brain say, lock on. You know, as soon as you say I'm going to lose weight, the body says you can't lose anything. I'm here to help you survive. Instead of, so I use
Is that
the
what it
word.
is? No, I'm just kidding.
It is. I use the word slenderize. I'm in my slenderizing phase.
That's, people don't realize how important the words they use really are. So maybe we should talk about that a little bit more, because we are victims of the words that we bring into our realm, our self-image, our self-esteem, and all that. And negative self-talk is very damaging.
Yes.
And
Very damaging, because every word holds a vibrational frequency. Everything holds a vibrational frequency. But when you're having conversations with yourself, which is what we do most of the time, we are literally bogging ourselves down with toxic vibrational words.
exactly.
So many people not only need a metal cleanse and a liver cleanse and a cleanse of some of their products, they need a cleanse of their vocabulary. And I don't mean wash your mouth out with soap, but it's, and or put your brain through the dishwasher, but hey, if it works, let me know.
No. Really. There's so much that we could have learned at a very young age that we didn't, unfortunately. And so some of us older are trying to fix those kinds of things. Can you imagine if you had started at a very young age meditating, for example? And thinking about mindfulness and the kinds of things that we've learned as adults. I don't know about you, but I didn't learn any of that as a child. In fact, the whole metaphysical realm, so to speak, is not my area of study. Mine was science, and it was nutrition, mostly, in naturopathic medicine to some extent.
Mhm.
But so this has all been in the last decade stuff that I've been learning. and accumulating information on. And it's fascinating. And I've learned a lot, and I've had to make a lot of personal changes. And I work on myself all the time.
Well,
And
Gail, it's one of the reasons why I work with children too. In the 90s when I became an infant massage instructor, I was teaching parents how to massage their children for mental, physical, and physiological, all kinds of different reasons to grow
yeah,
and
massage is
respond.
very good.
And then now when I work with the children, it's for them to tell me stories. So I want to keep their memories intact. And in working with the children, it also expands the parents. So now their home is a safe haven to talk about what's going on Saturn, or how the dinosaurs really started, or how certain guides blend flowers because they're botanical guides and scientists. And I mean, the stories these kids tell me is so fascinating and amazing. And then I help to open up that part of the parents or the family dynamics as well, because there's some people that will say I talk to the child's soul. I've been told that's not what happens. I don't talk to the child's soul. I have the children come before me, whether it's on Zoom or to my office in DC, and they tell me stories of different things and they remember them. We can talk about them 6 months later, and they'll remember a name that they gave me of one of their guides, or a planet that they were on, and it just out of the mouth of babes. And then we practice breath work
Oh,
because they're
wow.
they're having to go to public school systems or into school systems that have programming, right? So I teach them how to be in their breath and how to respond through their breath when things occur, so that they can keep their little nervous systems intact.
Wow. That is really important. There's something too that I'm asking Dot Connector if she could find it.
Sure.
We did a show with the woman, and I have a little trouble. I don't want to mispronounce her name, but anyway, we're going to put that video in the chat, and she's the one that has taken over for Dr. Emoto, and they have books for children that they try to get. I think they give them away as free as they possibly can, and they talk about the kinds of things that would have been wonderful to know as a child, because I'm sure you're aware of Dr. Emoto's work,
Hmm.
and
That's
taking
wonderful.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I don't think as many people know about it as should know about it. So I'm asking Dot Connector is going to put it in the chat, and even you might want to look at it later, because it's something you could order from them and for the children that you work with.
I would love that. Thank you very much. Every tool is helpful. Every
Yeah,
tool is helpful.
and she's a wonderful, wonderful lady, um,
Hmm.
and they're doing everything they can, and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I
So,
have a really close friend. She's one of the owners of TLC, which is the learning community. And here in Maryland, they were able to start the homeschooling programs, right? So
mhm.
the TLC is part of going into and adding an extra program to the home program that is designed to uniquely to for the student's best learning. um, and it's international. People don't understand that. They think if they go to homeschooling, they've got to just get the program from their county and do it that way. No, there's so much more. And I think because these children, we're going to learn a lot more over the next couple of years, and we're going to see schooling and programming change. And even if it doesn't change, we're going to see people involved with it changing and wanting more for their children. And that includes eating more healthy and going into more fruits and vegetables, and then learning how to cook for themselves. I teach some of my little kids actually how to cook, how to prepare things.
Yes, I want to mention that's awesome. That free we were proud to feature the ambassador and global director of Emoto Peace Project, Michiko Hayashi, I think is how you say her name.
Okay.
But anyway, we have we're putting that into the chat, and I'm there's information about her in the description that you can
Awesome.
get a hold of this information. And if you want to talk to her directly, just I can put you in touch.
Thank
So,
you.
that's just really, really cool. Okay, now there was something else I was going to bring up there, and I kind of lost my train of thought. Let's see.
Can I say something?
Please do. I'm a
Lena
little
asked,
tongue-tied right now.
that's fine. That's fine. Lena asked a question on Rumble. Well, Free Our Minds is her name under there.
Oh,
She
yes.
asked, are we having frequency cracks in our universe, our individual lives, like we are peaking or sensing higher frequencies?
So do you want me to answer that?
Please, please.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a lot of new energy that's here, and higher frequencies, yes, and a lot more help here on the planet. They have been telling me, my spiritual guides have been telling me that this was coming for some time, and I could feel it begin to come through over the last 6 months, and then especially over the last 30 to 60 days and 90 days. You can feel, if you were to look back 90 days ago, 60 days ago, 30 days ago to this moment, you can feel how things are changing. I would rephrase the word crack and just use that we just have more abilities to match frequencies better, and we're still getting some interference with frequencies. That's going to happen for a while until that's completely abolished. But if we can raise our frequencies enough to just stay in the love, then we can also enjoy these new energies. But we have to get our shadow work done and release the old programming. So, you were talking about, Gail, about the body being full of this and that, and you can't bring in new nutrients into a very toxic body, right? It's very difficult. But that's the same thing for the subconscious. It's full of old programming. And your conscious mind is always pulling from your subconscious mind, whether you choose to or not. And it comes out in your behavior, it comes out in your words, it comes out in mimicking your parent,
Your triggers.
all your triggers, all your shadows. So you've got to work on all of that in order to let go of the old frequencies, to tap into the new energies that are glorious right now, just glorious. And you were about to show something, Gail.
Yes.
You were showing something.
Oh, when you were speaking about
Yeah.
frequencies, I guess I
Yes.
should have opened it. It's the phone, and these are very negative frequencies that are microwave frequencies that are actually radiating you in negative
Yes.
ways, which is why I have a cover on mine. That's a radiation cover, and people should always think about that when using their cell phones. Wouldn't it be awesome if the cell phone put out a 432 frequency?
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Instead of going and intentionally turning it on several times a day, like I do.
Exactly.
And then I even question, is it real 432?
Oh, yes, I do.
I don't
too.
know who's mixing what. So nature
it's-
is my nature is my frequency.
That is the best frequency you can rely on, because
Yeah.
sometimes they say the music is 432, but how can you check it?
You can't.
There are programs out there, though, that will change it to 432, or they say that it will. But unless you're a musician, I don't know how to verify that information.
That's exactly right. And most people are not a musician. So because I don't know, sometimes I'm pretty careful. And so I just get out into the woods or in just on my neighborhood through the woods. I just, the streets, the trees, it doesn't matter if you're in the city or not. You just call on the energies and exchange the energies, just like we do oxygen and carbon dioxide. We change all of that. It is carbon dioxide, right? Yeah, we change all of that within the plants and the trees. That's an exchange.
Yeah.
And so we can also exchange the love and the light with them and have them help us filter through what might be getting stuck. But you have to set your intention and then make your action be your attention, or you're just spewing words.
Well, I've noticed that nature has a profound effect on a peacefulness that comes
Mhm.
over, a serenity, which I tell people, if you're having difficulty or think you're having difficulty meditating, be mindful of what you're thinking, because you could be blocking yourself by what you're saying, for one thing. But there couldn't be a better place than nature to do it in.
And even
Because,
if you just sit in quiet, we're in
yes,
hypnosis every morning we wake up, every night we go to sleep, when we're daydreaming, when we're just relaxing, we're in a hypnotic state. And so if you can get out into nature and just dip into that, you know, and listen to the birds in a different way, listen to the crispness of the branches moving, and the sounds of people walking, the squirrels make a lot of noise. They're the squirrel show. It's insane. But you can listen to all of the things in nature, and that's a frequency that you just can't beat.
wow.
Or the ocean.
I couldn't agree more. Oh, the ocean. I
Yeah,
love the
the
ocean.
ocean, the
Oh,
water,
if I could live on the ocean.
everything is consciousness. Everything is
Mhm.
vibrational consciousness. And we're the ones that are choosing to live in an unconscious world. We're living our day through going autopilot. You're unconscious,
They are
right?
automaton. So many of
Yes,
us are automatons. You get up,
yes,
you follow the same routine
yes,
every single day.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. And if you don't, then you literally, you short circuit. You
yeah.
short circuit. Oh, I didn't follow my routine. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. And then you go through that.
And you scold
kick-
yourself.
Totally. You give yourself your own ass kicking.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
That is so true.
It
Um,
is.
and we have to also learn to treat ourselves more kindly and gently about things, what we say to ourselves, and so on, because it's pretty important. But
Well, we have to tap into respecting ourselves and the energy within ourselves. And if we do not respect ourselves, we will not know or understand how to respect others. Period. We have to
right.
learn our own boundaries and respect for ourselves, and words that we wouldn't want to say to other people. Why do we say them to ourselves all the time? Like, oh my God, you're so ugly. Oh, you're fat. Oh, you don't have enough junk in the trunk, or you don't have this, or you don't have a nicer house, or I wish I had, it's all these things that we just, it's
Negative
very toxic.
self-talk.
It's
Mm.
toxic. It's toxic.
It's what you eat, what you drink, and what you think.
Yes.
All of them matter.
Mhm.
Um, there might even be another one that I'm missing, but anyway, all that
But
becomes very important.
I can add to that Gail is my angel for that. She provides me with a lot of reminders when I perform negative self talk. And so she's been helping me work on this issue.
She does so much, and she's so hard on herself. I just,
It's a
anyway,
program, right? So
yeah.
you can take it in from the air, you can take it in your intuition, every sense that we don't even know we have yet, right?
Well,
So,
also, Dot, let's talk about that real quick. So let's just say us three are sitting here and we're talking in such enlightening and raising the vibration, right? So that really goes into like a cloud, and it goes through the airways every which direction, wherever the wind wants to take it. And it can come through people and they could be like, I feel so much better. I feel pretty good, right? And then there's people out there that can be in this negative syndrome along with the other frequencies and the other sinister plans and all that. And that can wreak havoc. But we
right.
have a choice to say, you know what? Something just happened here. I just went down in the dumps. Okay, I recognize I went down the dumps. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to connect with myself. I'm going to clear whatever that was. And I'm going to start my step over. I'm going to start my thought over. I'm going to start this process over. And we can do this all day long. If we were a dog, we'd just be chasing our tail, right?
Right. And it's a choice to do that, to stop, drop, and
Yes.
roll, or
I
and
say
then
stop,
take that
drop,
new
sit. Stop,
step.
drop, sit, connect with your breath.
That's it.
Then
That I was trying
realign
to
your
remember what you
thoughts.
said. Yeah. Can you say that again?
Stop, drop, sit, align with your breath, and stop, drop, sit, connect with your breath, and realign your thought. So what does that mean? Stop means I just became aware of something, right? Drop is now you're dropping into your body of this awareness. You connect with the breath. You spread the oxygen out all over. You give your cells some movement. You give them a drink of water through this breath. Spread it all out. And then you sit with that and you let that marinate for a quick sec. And then you get up and you start again. And this could be in midstream. This could be in your, I don't mean like you physically have to like stop and sit, but sometimes you do. You're catching yourself in habitual habits of self-inflicted, intentional, because you haven't stopped it, right? You're
Right.
intentionally just going, whatever. I'll start over
My
tomorrow.
brain's
It's
not
like
working good
screwing up on
today,
a
or I'm not.
diet. I'll
And
just
and
there, you know?
and Soul, who is part of our team here at Free Range, she's saying, "I'm sorry" is a program she has, and I've
Yes.
had that before too.
Mhm.
I used to say that a lot. Yeah, it's hard to stop doing it.
Always
Mhm.
apologizing for yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it doesn't make any sense when you think about it.
Mhm.
You just feel you got to choose your words differently. You're not sorry that someone's in pain because you didn't do it. You're being empathic and compassionate. I'm sorry, when I say I'm sorry that you feel that way, what else I got to figure out another word. I'll just say stop, drop, sit, and reconnect.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly
Right.
right. And you
I
do this every day, all day, as many times. And don't beat yourself up like, I just did it again. Oh my gosh. How about just saying, because that's what we do.
how
Instead of
about
just
delete?
saying, yeah, cancel, alt, delete, right? You've been doing that all day. But what you can do is say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for helping me catch that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Align and then begin to move from there.
that just gave me goosebumps when you said that, because gratitude is so
Yes.
important.
And that goes along with the emoto work because that was one of the most powerful words that you could put on a glass of water to program the water, for example. Or one of the things that they could say to the water, and then they froze the water crystals and looked at it under a microscope. Thank you, gratitude was so important to even talk to plants like that too, and the trees and what have you, your cats, your
We're all
dog.
Yeah.
connected, including the plants, trees, rocks, you name it. We're all connected.
Yeah.
I remember
Now,
when I first heard that very long ago from someone in an Indian nation. Well, the rock, all of it, everything. It struck me as, what, and now I have a much better understanding that we are all connected, from the rocks to the trees to humanity and beyond. So, um,
well, we
So
are, Gail, and Dot, you're mentioning something about the water and how it will go into the same symbol repeatedly, right? And it has all this information in it. Every drop of blood has so much information in it already pre-programmed and can get programmed, right? But you have a God source program in here. You look at a magnetic strip on the back of a credit card, it can have all this information on it, a little microchip that goes into your computer. You have all these things that you can program with all this information, but we're forgetting that our blood, our flesh and blood, is programmed with the God source creator information. It has a full library and a symphony of infinite information in here. We just haven't been taught to trust it and to get in
yes.
there and dip in there to it. And each one of us have that. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Wow. Water, this is so true. Water connects us all. And water is so important to our health and well-being. And I've had a couple of people on about water. Michael Lee Hill, he talked about
Mhm.
water. So did um, Eddie Ben Abramson. I always want to call him just Ben. I don't know why, but anyway, he talked a lot about water and the whales changing the frequency of the water, which was a fascinating a
Mhm.
show. But water is critical, and we're at least 80% water. I think we're even higher than that.
Yes.
And if you're less than that, you're dehydrated.
Yeah.
But it bathes everything, all of our cells. And just think, if when you think about Dr. Emoto's work, and you think about what hate does to the water, and when they crystallize it, when you think about, and municipal water, that's what we talked about with Michael Lee Hill. It's dead water.
Mhm.
You know, if you actually take us under a super duper electron microscope and so on, if you reduce it as far as you can, we are light. And there's an attempt right now to steal our light.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, nobody can take your light. You have a choice on how much you dim it. Once you recognize that there are too many shadows stepping in front of you, you're going to move those shadows out of the way. And you're going to put your beacon of light. You're going to get that dial, and you're going to turn it up, and you're going to be an example for others. Because as much as people want to put shadows on it and squelch it or hide it from others, we have to say to ourselves, we are a beacon of light, and we have a choice to shine our light and set that dial and trust that it's going to spread light to others. It's going to sparkle and sprinkle and dazzle and dance with everybody else's light if you allow it to do so.
I guess the main point that I was making about the light is the current agenda that's going on that
Yeah.
changes humanity in a way that the light goes away.
Yeah.
And that's been planned for a very long time.
Mhm.
So I really hope that everybody starts saying no to
Start saying no, and then find your resource.
this and care about yourself. Your
Yeah.
body is sacred, and so are you. So
I
interesting.
know of a lot of people. I've heard a lot of conversations wherein some people believe that water almost can serve as a portal. I think it has many more dimensions to it than we realize. You know, what do we say? It's a liquid, a gas, or a solid, but it can also be found in plasma, the ether, the air. The other day we were talking about how we breathe in water, right?
Yes. At first I went, what do you mean we breathe in? But then when you think about it, there's humidity in the air. So yes, we do breathe in water.
Right. And the ability of our the way we were created, that we can break the bonds of hydrogen and oxygen. There's hydrogen, that's the strongest bond chemically that you can separate, and that's what the atomic bomb was made from, breaking the hydrogen bonds. So imagine that happens all the time, and we don't even realize it while we're breathing. You know, it's pretty amazing.
It is.
We had a question for you, Sandra. Do you think drawing chakras in the flower of life will bring your vibration up?
Sure. I think anytime that you can work with curvatures and movement, you're drawing symbols, and then whatever it is that it means to you, you can even elevate what that means to you, and infuse it with even more energy. So I think it's a balancer, it's a harmonizer, and then it also raises your vibration. So the answer to that is yes.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Somebody said that Thomas, one of our listeners, a regular listener, said that chat in YouTube, the volume is fading. They don't want you to hear any helpful information. So anyway,
Don't worry,
I
I'll put it up on my channel. It'll come back out recorded. Hopefully it'll all be fine.
yeah, and besides that, it's on my Rumble and it's on my Odyssey, and I can't do YouTube right now. So you have to do YouTube on the Dot Connector or Sandra's place because
That's fine.
they just
Happy to
keep
do it.
punishing me for telling the truth. You know?
Well, it's as much as we get frustrated with it, it's a programmed machine to pick up keywords. And so it's like what I call the bot patrol.
Yep.
And it's hard to know how to avoid the bot patrol or hide until you actually do something, and then you're in bot confinement is what I want to call it. You're in the confinement chamber until they allow you to come out. And again, that's a way of squelching our freedom of speech. It's a way of squelching how we feel. And it makes people hesitate when they want to like something or comment. Oh, I don't want someone to know I associate with that. I'm telling you, this is one of those little tiny things that's leading to having these rights taken away. And people need to step into their light and recognize the storm that's here. It's here.
Exactly. And that's critical because they want us to only follow what falls in line with their narrative, which is something that creates and controls our perspective of things, which in turn affects our behavior. So in many ways, as we begin to recognize these things, we can transmute and not let it affect our behavior.
Yes.
Because more and more truth is coming out. So it's going to get out there. It's inevitable. They can't stop what's coming, and the truth is coming, and it's coming out fast and furious right now. And people are going to have to start looking at some of the things that we're talking about and start seeing things and start creating our new world.
Well, you can't have a remedy if you don't see and you're not aware of the issue. You can't have a remedy for anything if you don't see that. But, there's a lot of information going around right now. I think you're seeing a lot of things in the spiritual community where there's a lot of cat claws and fighting.
Yes.
And then you're
That's
also
terrible.
seeing, so-and-so's a liar and so-and-so's telling the truth and so-and-so this. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I saw this coming about 1.5 years ago, and I was told to only work on my spiritual alignment and to strengthen that column of light and to be the strongest being that I could be. So no matter what winds, or excuse me, Gail, what gale winds may come flowing, that I was strong, that I was steady, that I was sure. I knew where my messages were coming from. I knew a greater sense of thyself, so that I could be the greatest help to others if need be. But I had to step back and go more into isolation and to work on my own light and to figure out how to work my own dimmer switch. And more people, the truth is going to be coming, whether you like it or not, whether you're super aware of it or not. Don't sit on a taser and rotate on it with all of this information, because you're literally haywiring and short circuiting your entire systems. So you have no clue what's yours, what's theirs, what's everywhere. So I strongly suggest that if you really want to tap into what's coming in for what's true, work on tapping into yourself, align yourself, be strong with that, be the best you can be. Then go out and start playing with the energy. Realize when things are dipping and coming up. Experience the frequencies that are happening and all the help that's here. But don't get so caught up in what everybody else is doing. And if I don't know, then I won't be prepared, because guess what? The Prime Creator did not put you here not to be prepared. If you are doing your work and you've done your shadow work and you're clearing out and detoxing and you're staying in a place of love and harmony in your heart, you're going to know exactly where you need to be during whatever occurrence occurs.
That's some wonderful advice, Sandra. and it's what everybody needs to. Now, there are some people that feel like they're they don't know that they can do the work, and they don't know necessarily what the work is, and um, they're floundering some. Do you have any advice for them?
Well, again, it all goes back to knowing that you are enough. You came in with all the information within your software system. It's not outside of you. Creation happens from within you, not outside of you. And so when you're tapping into your heart center and knowing I am pure, pure joy and love, that is what I am. And I don't give permission slips to you, and you who have dictated. And now I feel this big, this small. No, I allowed that. That is old programming. I am stepping into my true, authentic self. I am a column of living, breathing, loving light. And every day I am going to feed that column of light till it expands. And then I can help and share with others through that love, through that heart center. And then you'll be able to see different things occurring. And also, the more you raise your vibrations, the more higher vibrations you bring to you. So as we were talking in the beginning, Gail, synergistics, it's like, oh, I start focusing on this and this and that, and all of a sudden this occurs and this occurs. It may not be everything you want. It might be like, ooh, I didn't want that. Okay, well, thanks for the choice. You know what I mean? Because the universe is just going to keep bringing you choices, and you can go, but I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for that. Just say, hey, thanks. That's not my choice today. I'm going to keep working on my vibration, and more choices are going to come to me. And then it's like, oh, I think I like that one. And then you choose that one, and you get halfway down the road, and you're like, okay, I think I'm going to go left now, or I'm going to go right now. So you're never stuck with one choice. There's ways to go in and out of it at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So never be afraid to choose one that is compatible with your frequency at that time.
And what's beautiful about it, the more grateful you are for the things that do come your way, regardless of whether it is synergistic for you or whatever at the time. Being grateful that an opportunity passed you, or it just brings more of the same. Not the
It
same
does.
exact thing, but brings more things to you when you're grateful for them, because it's like the universal says, "Oh, she liked that. Let's give her some more." Something. I mean, that
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but it seems to be true. It's actually been my experience.
Yeah. And when you were saying that, I was thinking of the analogy of like, and you tell your friend or whoever, it's dinner time and you're hungry. You say, I'm hungry. And the other person says, well, what do you want? And you go, I don't know. And they go, okay, well, how about sushi? Ew, no, I don't want that. Okay, well, how about pizza? Ew, no, I don't want that. Okay, well, how about a steak? Ew, no, I don't want that. Well, why do you keep picking all of those things? Like, I don't want those. Well, figure out what it is that you do want. So if you are hungry and you're thirsty for information, then think about what information you'd like to have that's going to stimulate and elevate your inner self and open your heart center, right? And then more choices will come to you, and you'll just find that the universe just starts manifesting things in such a beautiful way. And it may bring you something like, ew, I don't want that. Right? Don't blame it on, oh, it was low frequency and that came at me. Oh, yeah, what did I do? Victim blame. You can just say, oh, well, thanks for the choice, but I'm going to bypass that. Okay, next.
What else you got?
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay. Well, on that very positive note, I think unless you have anything else you want to add, I
No,
think we
it's just
have.
a pleasure being here. Thank you so much, Gail, for all that you do and the shows that you put out. And I know that they're labor intensive, and these electronics are not easy. And, I have such a difficult time that occasionally I want to break my texting finger. It's like, So I so respect what you're doing, and Dot and the team that you have that's helping you now a little bit, but I know a lot of it falls on you. And just thank you for being such a great pioneer and all these wonderful shows that help us expand information.
Thank you, Sandra. That means a lot. It really does. Thank you so much. And
You're
thank you for the work that you do as well.
Thank you.
And this is a wrap. And thank everyone. What a wonderful day. Thank you. And we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thanks for here. Please check the description. I have some new things in there. So
Yeah, get your detox on.
We'll stand. We'll stand. We will stand. Standing tall and standing strong. Defiance and looking on. No way down from our past we climb. We'll push on while there's still time. Watch our backs through the light. Don't look down. Yeah, we'll take
hi, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask you to please check the description again. I have run into a couple new products. The very last one listed, I'm very excited about. And if you have an herbal background or a nutritional background and you look at the ingredient list of that particular product, it's called More Mito. And you will go, oh my God, I can't believe they got this all in one liquid supplement. But anyway, take a look, see what you think. And if you decide to try anything, I always like to have feedback because I care about what I suggest to people. And everybody's different. So one thing might work for somebody and another thing might not. So always bear that in mind. And once again, thank you for being here and thank you for listening. We'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone. Love you.